Yo, what's going on, everybody? Bet US, Bet US, all your betting needs. Cowboys, Niners. This is just it's really a get right game for both teams. I'll say this. I would take Dallas +4 in a heartbeat. Me and Skywalker still are about to try to spend some time to tell you guys why. Anytime Sky's on the channel, you know he comes with amazing details, amazing ideas, and we're gonna do that. But if I'm you and I see these odds, I'm doing that immediately. Bet US has all your betting needs. Sky, the NBA is back. Can you believe that, bro? The NBA is back.
It snuck up on us, man.
I'm watching, and you know I give you hell about your Lakers, but I'm watching.
Man, Wemby on tonight. That's what I want to see.
You go get it. That's what I'm saying. Like, bro, can we really believe that freaking Bron and his son, and that was actually really cool, that Bron and his son were on they were on the floor together. So you could bet on the NBA, and NBA early, I tell people, it's kind of tricky, but they have all your betting needs. Bet US can take care of you. And I swear by it, I stand by it. And thank you, Bet US, for sponsoring the show. Without further ado, me and Sky Steele are going to talk offense. He needs absolutely, positively no introduction, but I'm going to give him one anyway. Skywalker Steele is, and if you're hearing this on a playback, definitely the best quarterback in the game, but he also has really good ideas. And I call him a coordinator specialist. So here's what he's really a film guy as well. People don't really know that he knows a lot about film, but he really, really does. Or if you watch a show, you know, but I'm actually a guy who understands and watches film. So some people are like film people, some people's like, I'd rather not. Sky is not one of those people. He's one of those people that I go to, and me and him have really passionate conversation. To say the least, but we always find a happy medium. And so I brought Sky on today because he does it, man. He even gets me to think. So Sky, how you doing, bro?
I'm good, man. You know, I said this in the beginning of the week after we saw the injuries for both sides. I'm like, if it's going to be a time, this is the time. You know, I know it might not feel as good as it obviously will feel in the playoffs, but I mean, dude, you just gotta get one over on these dudes at some point.
Yeah, and without holding you too long, Sky, I got a few questions, and let these take us where they may. But first of all, up until this point, how do you feel about the offense? We're 3-3, so it's not been all great, but it's not been all bad. How do you feel about the offense right now?
It's a disappointing start. I mean, also, though, it kind of feels very similar to last year, right?
Yes.
Like almost identical. I think it was Cowboys went on break after 6 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. And the offense looked the same. It was kind of moving the ball up and down the field, couldn't punch it in the red zone. The run game started off strong, then it kind of fizzled out. You didn't really have, a pass concept. You felt good about the pass game was kind of very sketchy. There was no identity. Stop me if all this sounds familiar for 2024. Although the run game is much worse than it was last year. So that's probably the biggest difference. And in the confidence that you kind of, you have now, or for me at least, if you want to call it confidence, the hope, let me say that. The hope that I have is that whatever they did last year in the bye week, they kind of implement some of those things. I think Shadi was saying, change, adjust, emphasize. Change some things, adjust some things, and emphasize the things that do work. If they can do that, I mean, that's what I'm actually looking for them to do coming out this bye, and then hopefully that could gain some momentum. Because right now, for me, Foots, it's not a whole lot to be encouraged about with the offense.
Yeah, I mean, bro, the fan base, the views, the everything we do, everything, Sky, has been affected by this team's play this year. I mean, let's be honest. We have more bickering amongst content creators and people who follow the team, and I'm talking about on every level, than we've ever had. And I think that's because it's taken now Mike 2 years to kind of find his rhythm and get going and counter. And I was thinking about this today, Sky. I was like, I don't know if Mike's a bad play caller. I do know that he doesn't have counters for when the defense takes away what he wants to do. And that's what I've seen so far. I think that we've seen Mike get in rhythms. I think that we've seen him do things like, oh, we're going to use pre-snap motion. They're not going to honor it. We're going to throw the ball to Brevin Span for like little cool things. And then there's times where we're going to stick CD in the slot. He's going to run it over, and that's that. And I think that's where it's like, okay, Mike, you put this on film now for the last 2 years. Teams know that when CD goes to the slot, he's running some type of drag over something and breaking. Got to change it up. You got to have a pitch, a counter pitch. You don't always have to throw your curveball, but you need to have a counter pitch. And I think that's some of my issue when I look at how the offense is set up structurally.
Yeah, so I usually use this analogy. Like, I don't believe Mike McCarthy is a storyteller from a play caller standpoint. You do music, right? You
I do music.
You a hip hop head, so
Yeah.
You're the old school hip hop guy, Slick Rick, Big Daddy Kane, Scarface. Like, those were storytellers. You know what I mean?
Scarface was one of the best.
Right. They'd be able to, tell a story, deliver it in a way that capture the audience, and then they hit you with a finish that have you saying, damn. Ben Johnson's that way. I know that's one of the guys we bring up a lot. Even though Kyle Shanahan's offense isn't doing well, but that kind of tree, the LaFleurs, the Shanahan, Andy Reid, like these guys kind of tell a story throughout the day, and then they hit you with the counter based off something that they saw on film or something that they're showing during the game. I don't feel like that's the case with Mike. I feel like you said, this is what we do. I don't think what we do is all that great in general. So if somebody takes that away, now what, right? What do you have to lean on? What is your insurance? If it's not the run game, then what conceptually can you do? I think we're still trying to figure that out. Now, we stole some things last year going into the bye week. We took some, and it worked. Like, I lied to you not, man. It really worked. And we kind of went on a nice little run there, like a 6 to 8 week run, or maybe 9 or so week run, where it was, man, these things are hitting. 4-88, we're on fire. And it was like, all right, here we go. And then you get to the postseason and you don't do any of those things. And you don't have a run game. So you had to lean on it. And it's like, uh-oh, are we regressing?
I'm so glad you went there.
Yeah. And so then it got to the off season, bro. And I'm like, all right, well, we saw what worked. I'm hoping that he builds on top of that. And I told you this before. We've talked about this behind the scenes. That's one of the most frustrating things about the start of the season is that you saw what worked for your team. Yeah. And you didn't come out this year and lean into that. Tell stories to set up, counters or twist. You didn't do any of that. You kind of reverted back to what you've been comfortable doing for 30 years in this league. And the league has moved past that a little bit, man. So you got to kind of keep up with it.
Yeah, man. Oh, Scott, we're going to talk run game.
Sydney, Australia now.
I had to do this. I had to do this. I didn't want to cut you off, but it's like, bro, Sydney, Australia.
Yeah,
come on, man. Let's go, y'all. Let's go. This is why we do it. Shout out to you, DMV. Shout out to just Sadiqa.
DMV in the building. Let me move the chat over here.
I know it's a Thursday, so numbers may kind of dwindle. And I'm trying to keep Sky consistent in DMV. I'm gonna get you on here as well. Guys, this means a lot to me. Somebody from Sydney, Australia tuning in. That's dope. That's dope. This is why we do this. I was out, it's crazy not to get sentimental, but I was texting Sky last night. I was like, bro, 2021, we was cranking out draft content, bro. 2-hour shows.
Morey. You sent me a Trevor Morey clip. I'm like, damn.
we was cranking them out, Sky. So I know it's so much going on in our community right now. I want to get back to these conversations, right? The meat and potatoes, and they may not be the sexy, and it may not get the most views. I don't care. I want to get back to football talking. What Sky said is it gives me hope, right? Okay, Mike, let's do a self scout here, okay? Because I don't. Again, you be hard pressed to say that there is a coach that has went 12-5 and he's a bad coach as much as he has, right? That nobody can argue that to me because I've seen a lot of bad teams around the NFL consistently. What I will say is the staleness, the repetitiveness, this has always worked for me. The CD's just gonna be a guy. It's like what I've seen, and I don't know if anybody has attacked this guy, and then we're going to talk run game. then I'll let you go because I know you got to get ready for your. We'll talk run
No, you're
game.
good. I got my shows.
Okay.
I'm good. Yeah, we
I
straight.
don't know if you. I know you got to. I know you got to prep. So this is more
I already did,
off
brother.
the top.
We good.
Okay, yeah, you to
We
go.
can rock. We can rock.
We can rock. So
now it's a game on. I'll put that on.
it's a game on. It's a game on. Keep it
Vikings
on the
Rams.
background, and,
Yeah, man,
and
put that
that's
in the
actually some good
background.
offensive.
Exactly. I want
some
to see.
good. I know.
O'Connell's our guy. I want to watch O'Connell.
Okay, so we be done by the second half, Scott, when they really turn it up.
Go ahead.
No, but in all seriousness, I don't think that anybody's talked about how Mike is not attacking the intermediate. I mean, he's attacking intermediate. He's not attacking down the field schematically. He's not attacking deep thirds with certain guys. And so that's one of the things that I saw. Everything feels corner route to CD, over to CD, or maybe Jalen Tolbert somewhere. But it's like, bro.
So the spacing, so when I talk about concepts, we're going to leave pre-snap, snap motion aside. Just the general, route concepts. I went and watched, obviously, studying the Kansas City Niners game.
We'll talk about this, DMV.
And I'm looking at, there's this one play that they ran on the Niners where it wasn't any pre-snap, post-snap stuff, right? It was just basic stuff. But the concepts behind, the play put pressure on the Niners safeties, put pressure on Fred Warner, have to step up with the back coming out, and you get a wide open tight end because they ran kind of a stack release situation. So things like that, do more. If you're not going to be as potent of a pre-snap, snap type of team, then at least make the concepts be creative behind it. When you're not doing any snap motion, when you're not doing any legitimate purposeful, meaningful shifts, and you're not having creative concepts behind it, that's going to make things tougher on anybody. I don't really care who you are. It's going to make it tougher on a receiver, on a quarterback, on the line, whomever, because those defenses know, okay, I'm not thinking. You're not putting them on their toes. You're not making them think. You're not causing any chaos, and that just makes it a lot easier for the D and a lot tougher for you, especially when the talent level matches up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, especially when you don't have a Cooks to stretch the field and you're not going to use Cooks to stretch the field consistently. And right now, Tolbert's finding his own, but, we heard the Lions players say their game plan was 88. If you're not going to put anything else on film to make teams worry about anybody else, you're not going to worry about it. Okay, so, Scott, we're going to talk about this offense in parts. The first part we're going to talk about is the run game. Now, this is how I feel, and I'm glad that my buddy John, who also, y'all don't know his DMV, but I call him John. It's my guy. He's actually a coach as well. We talk run game all the time. Really good person. Former running back. Went to Howard University. I want to sing his praises. DMV.
When it comes to running back stuff, I'm dialed in with. I mean, not that I'm anything DMV, but I'm just saying when it's running back stuff, what he's saying, because this dude played it. He knows it in and out. So yeah,
he knows it. I'm gonna give my opinion. You guys feel free to fight me. Nobody in their right mind thinks that Ezekiel Elliott is the same player, but that's not on. It's
actually,
honestly
there are people who believe that, but
there's literally people who they'll find one play and it's like, you can't do that. We need to take the whole body of work. He doesn't move the same. He's still a great person.
I think that fans. We know he's not that guy.
We know he's not that guy. Yeah, and I think what happened is with all of this talk, Sky, is he got brought back into a situation that is not the same run blocking line, is not the same scheme wise that when he was here, right? Different coordinator, different play caller. I think that I'll just say it frankly, I don't want to see Zeke anymore. I love him. I just don't want to see him anymore. I want to see Rico if they're not going to call up Dalvin Cook, and we'll talk about the schemes that they're actually running and need to get to. But if they're not going to call up Dalvin Cook, I want to see Rico till I can't anymore. Then maybe Lipke, and then maybe Zeke. But I don't. There should never be a game where Zeke has over 5 to 6 carries because he's just not that. Sky, how do you feel?
No, man, I said it from the jump when they brought him back. I wasn't an advocate for it. I wanted to draft a guy. Me and you, we've been 4 or 5 years in a row. We've been talking about backs every single year who we were interested in. We were shocked, absolutely shocked. They did not take him back. So they brought him back. I didn't boo-hoo about it too much, even though everyone knew where I stood on it. But I said this. He can serve a purpose if they decide to lean into that purpose. The purpose for me was never for him to be a 12 to 15 touch guy on this team. No. But
Yeah.
can he get you the short yardage when you need him to? Sure, if he's going downhill. But the one thing he does, I think, still at an elite level,
Pass
granted we haven't
pro.
seen it this year. No, man, screw the pass protection. The goal line.
Yeah.
Like you get to the goal, I'm talking 5 yards, 7 yards, even 10 yards. There are not many other backs in this league that have a nose for the end zone like Zeke. So if they're not going to use him down there from goal to goal, especially at the one to win the game, then what is he here for? Yeah. What is he here for? He's not here to be a guy that's going to tote the rock 15 times. That ain't him no more. I know people want to see that. I promise you, the people that are saying he's the same dude he was in 2016, he's not. Yeah. We shouldn't even have to do this. We shouldn't have to say this because
that's where it's like we're doing our job because we're being very fair. But like, why do we have to? We do this because our fan base does things like a $10,000 reward. It's silly. It's just silliness. Continue, Scott. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. But so if they're not going to use him for essentially what I thought they were going to, he was here to do, then yeah, maybe it's time to see something else here. And you brought up Dalvin Cook. We'll get into the scheme, but if you're going to bring up Dalvin Cook, I do think there's a certain way you got to run.
Yeah. Well, that's another. Like, I don't want Mike. I use this. I used this in one of my videos yesterday. It's like, I don't want, because I figured this out with Purdy. When you start giving him different looks, it's like that episode of SpongeBob where it's like different cabinets. Yep. And it's the same thing with Mike. It's like, Mike, okay. Because I do agree with John and me, and you have had this conversation, Sky. I think where we are right now, I know you love wide zone, Sky. You're a wide zone guy.
Yep. As my base, yes, love it.
But I think our personnel is set up for gap schemes and duo, which is just because with this O-line coach has not shown me the ability to get anybody better. Like all of these guys right now are just who they are. And honestly, I mean, they're okay. Obviously, Tyler Smith is our guy, right? Terrence Steele is a run blocking. He's still grading very well as a run blocker.
Oh, he still can do that.
But the problem is we haven't seen any growth in his pass pro, in his footwork. And it's also just like, and it hasn't been bad. I don't want people to think that Terrence Steele is the worst right tackle in the league. He's not. He really isn't.
Technically, from a pass blocking win rate, he's 14th out of 34 right tackles.
So
but the losses look really bad when he loses, though. That's the problem.
And he losing the dudes. Like, I just want to make that clear. He losing the guys. But I believe I want to lean in on gap schemes. I would love to pull more and wrap through. I would love to run more power. I never see Tyler Smith. I always tell this. If I have good guards, I want to use them like fullbacks, Guy. I want them leading through, making linebackers come down and fill. We just don't do that. And it bothers me.
You got to get out this duo. You got to get out. You got to get out of this nonsense. Look, this offensive line is not as good as a lot of people have hoped for. Now, personally, I believed it was gonna go through its growing pains anyway, because you're taking two rookies playing positions that they did not play in college. Like, we have to think about the reality here. Okay, I understand we got rid of an aging guy and we got rid of a center that was mid. Let's be real, he was mid. But the center knew what the hell he was doing out there, and the Asian guy was at least an all-pro as a pass protector. Now, he was not good in the run game, and he was always injured. So it was going to take a little bit to get back to that level. You just knew that. But here's my problem with duo, and BB's a different discussion in regards to playing center, but you're not allowing this offensive line to lean on dudes and move guys. Because for me with duo, it's, all right, we got to hold this block, and now I got to get to the second level to that linebacker so I can make sure I create that lane. And the problem is you're asking a guy that's playing center that's never done that before. He's never done it from a snap, down block, get to the second. He is struggling with that, Foots. He's not dirting people. Remember the whole dirt thing? Yeah. There's no dirt because he's thinking too much, right? He's thinking too much when he's doing that, and he's struggling with these stunts because he hasn't played it. So we get it. Growing pains. Yeah. But with the left tackle, what about him? Well, here's a problem with the left tackle. He's trying to figure out how to play left tackle in the NFL. You
And
see
run
it
block and do this stuff. Yeah.
all of it. Run block, pass block, dealing with stunts, everything. This kid is learning the game, and he's not learning it playing scrubs. He's
Yeah.
learning it against dudes, and you see him doing the same problems that you're seeing BB having. He's struggling with the stunts. He's not really getting to the second level. When he's really good in the run game, it's when he's dealing with solo stuff, right? When he has to cut a guy off, reach a little bit, or if he gets out in space.
Yeah.
You have to lean into more of what those guys do. But see, Solari, for whatever reason, it's like it feels like it's 80% duo, 20% inside zone. I feel like that's all we do. We don't do enough tosses, foots. We don't get these guys elephants on parade. We don't do traps. Granted, we're a little bit sloppy with that. Anyway, I told you I'm a proponent of wide zone because with wide zone you can build so much off of it. I would prefer that, but he said that's what we do. But I've watched every single game how many times over.
Pin pull would be good, like JG said.
Yeah, like
one of those. Any gap scheme, really. To me, I'm with you, and I think I do hear your sentiments about duo Sky. And to be honest with you, again, JG, running back guy, he made a great point. Our backs, like it's crazy. I want to see Rico because I know he has the most juice and he has the freshest legs, but at times he does struggle with vision as well. And like those duo runs are specific. You need a specific type of runner back there for duo and really for wide zone because you got to know how to bend it, stay front side or cut it back.
You're not wrong with that. I think wide zone would be easier for any back to get in a rhythm with and find those cutback lanes because you have to do it over and over. Duo can be a bit more tough because you really just got to trust these guys in front of you to be able to, crash down, get the double team, and get up to the second level.
Yeah.
In reality, if you're still rolling with Zeke, which I don't know if they will, people, I know Zeke's power guy, and Zeke is a perfect wide zone back.
He does run wide zone well. He sees the lanes.
Go look at when he was successful back. It wasn't out of duo, bro. We ran a bunch of zone.
Zeke has the unique ability to stick his foot in the dirt. It's actually when I'm coaching my backs, he does a really good job of pressing. He sees that crease, he hits it. And so for those who don't know, wide zone is if you want to pull something up, Sky, or what wide zone is it's not giving you a specific landmark.
Oh yeah, I got some lions if you want to see.
Yeah, then pull it up, man. We talking ball, man. These are the conversations that I want to have with fans because I want you guys to know what you're looking at. And I know you're gonna show me Gibbs.
Well, yes, you are. You see what DMV just said here? He said, "No, DMV, I'm gonna one up your one." He said, Dalvin will be all right for wide zone. No. Dalvin will be perfect.
Dalvin was made for wide zone.
Made for wide zone.
Wide zone, outside zone, all of the man.
And that's where I was going with it before we got to the zone part of it. If you're gonna call up Dalvin Cook, all this duo crap, no. You got to put him in that wide zone. Inside zone's cool too if they can get to it, but you got to let Dalvin Cook have the ability to go outside CBA and have all those options, and he'll be able to read the linebackers. That's what he does. If you want to get the best for Dalvin Cook, that's how you do it.
Oh man, he did that in Minnesota to a T. He did it in Minnesota, and honestly, he did a little bit with the Jets. Some of his positive film, but as we see the Jets O-line, just even this year, they just haven't been that great. But that's what they were really good with. Are you trying to get it on the screen, Sky?
I had actually. I can pull it up, but I ain't worried about it. I mean, we're good. I can get in here
because I think one of the things is when we're looking at some of these run schemes, and we talk about marriage, we want some of this stuff to marry to the passing game.
That's it right there, bro. That's it right there.
We want some of this stuff to marry to the passing game, bro.
Here we go.
You want some of these back to the basket play actions. You want some of this stuff to be in marriage. And that way, okay, now these backers can't kamikaze downhill. Okay, because if they do, there's something coming behind their ear. Right. And that will be another way. I know Sky loves talking about easy buttons. Ben Johnson presses so many of them for Jared.
He's the best in the game right now, man.
Yeah, it's unfair.
Yeah, so this is going to be just a multitude of runs, man, from wide zone inside, gap scheme. I mean, Ben Johnson just is Ben Johnson, man. Like
He's stupid.
their pilot. See, this is their pilot is so deeper, but this is some of that wide zone right there. But look at all the options you got. You know what I mean? That's why I'm a proponent of. Granted, this is a way better scheme or a way better team, but the reason why I love it, bro, and we talked about this many times, is it gives you these options to stay outside here. He can cut
Get
back
that
here,
cutback
or
in. Yeah,
if this guy gets caught up, he can cut back here. Now that requires vision
yeah.
from a back, but I don't know, man. I just they have the best, in my opinion, run game pilot in the league.
Yeah, and they
some more
have
outside stuff. Cut up, stick your foot in the ground, get down.
yeah, my both of them running well actually.
Both of them run it. Some of the best in the league.
Yep, those steps. Look at that reach block from 67.
Yeah, their line is a different ball game, but I feel like zone blocking, wide zone specifically, it helps a lesser offensive line because you're getting to a spot. You're not trying to deal with a guy right on top, unless the guy is on top of you. But you're not trying to. All right, I got a double team and get to the second level. You're getting to a spot and you're letting the linebackers flow, and then the running backs are playing off of your hip.
Yeah, that was one of my 2 runs ago. That was a good scheme because actually it looked like those 3 techs tried to knife it, and I think
this one here,
not this one. Go back, right. This, yep. When he bounced it out, looked like they tried to wall it right there. Yep. So they're trying to jump inside right here, guys.
And he jumps out.
Yep. And so that's just them knowing the scheme, man, and then just being special.
Right.
It's just special guys. And I mean, this is a franchise who they drafted Gibbs. They did. They drafted Gibbs, Sky, and then signed Montgomery or vice, which I don't know if it was which way. I think they signed
Montgomery then drafted Gibbs. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's also about being a step ahead too in the league. I think I will say this. If you guys aren't with me and Sky during draft season, you need to be, because while everybody sat on Twitter and said no running back, no running back, no running back, you end up in this predicament. Because we have said for the last 3 years, starting with Tajay Spears, starting with some of the guys we covered this year, Sky, that is becoming now a premium position again. Not in the sense that even if the Cowboys did, and we'll move from the run game, Sky, but even if the Cowboys didn't draft a running back in the first round, even in the second round, I love Deuce Vaughn. I love the story. But thinking that you're going to be able to get a guy in the 6th round to come in and be a guy, because at some point you knew you weren't going to have Tony Pollard forever. And I mean, what are you banking on? Zeke coming back? You shouldn't have been banking on that. So if you want to get mad at front office or our Will for not doing something, running back, and listen, I love the guys we drafted, but I'm looking at some guys make plays. I'm like, damn.
See, there has to be some nuance to the running back conversation. If you have an elite scheme, a top end scheme, yes, you can plug probably lesser backs in the scheme and they'll do well. If you have a legit top end scheme plus a legit top end line, damn near any back probably will have success with that offense. If you have neither, then you're probably going to need a really talented back to make up for not having a creative scheme or offensive line that's an elite run blocking offensive line. So there is context to the conversation, but I've always said, look, I would much rather have an elite run blocking scheme, because 2 things happen with that. One, you don't need elite linemen across the board, and you don't need an elite back. But if you happen to stumble into that because you drafted well, or you draft or signed a guy in free agency, then guess what? You're that much better for it. So, I'd rather start off with building the foundation of my home, which would be give me a run scheme, a run coordinator with a good scheme, build my O-line up. And then if I stumble into a Jahmyr Gibbs at 12th overall, guess what's going to happen? We're going to be one of the most lethal run teams in the league. But guess what? I still can throw the rock. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So it's more to it than just don't draft a running back, in the first round. There is some nuance to it. Now, if you're talking top 5, creeping in the top 10, you got to have a conversation. Like there's a
Yeah.
little bit more to it. But the whole just first round in general, nah, there's more to that. Come on, bro. We would have took Robinson or Gibbs at 27
Yeah.
last year. Stop playing.
Yeah, no, we've kind of, if you follow this, we do your on the clock series, Sky. We really hit that, and I'll do you one better. I'm watching the Rams right now.
Yeah,
They had Kyron Williams. They still drafted Blake Corum. You know why? Because when you have 2 great backs, that's better than one. When you have a run attack, and this is again one of the brighter. And Sean he knows where his team is right now, but
Yeah.
he also understands when I get this thing rolling, I got 2 guys that can come at you. It just makes the quarterback's job that much easier. I don't think that Dallas has had that ever in Dak's tenure. So as hard as I am on Dak, I can honestly say when it was Zeke and Tony, it was kind of like it didn't feel like it does with Montgomery and Gibbs. That feels like a true 2-headed attack.
We had that, but they use it as a part of their DNA in their offense. We use it to hit a number. But Mike always comes out, hey man, we just trying to hit a number. Yeah, we just got to get 30. Like, all right, Mike, you trying to get 30, but are you telling the story with it? Are you setting anything up with it? Or are we just trying to hit a number to hit a number? You go watch that McVay tree. Everything is tied to how they run, how they motion, post-snap action. It's all tied together. I promise y'all, if you go watch us, you watch the film week in, week out, we just doing shit.
Yeah.
We just doing it.
There's no rhyme or reason.
No rhyme or reason to it, bro.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on, guys. Thank you to everybody in the chat. What's up, Nick? What's up, Sheila? What's up, Sadiqa? We got the fam in here, man. Even on a Thursday night. That's what you get when you get a guy like Sky and a guy like myself, and then you got DMV holding the comments down. Make sure you guys get the likes up. Thank you so much. Thank you, BetUS, for sponsoring this video. All your betting needs, BetUS can take care of you. Skywalker Steele. Do you have hope that the Cowboys off a bye can turn this offense around versus a San Francisco defense that I won't say is bad? I won't say they're great. I'll say they can be had. How do you feel coming into this game? And we'll get into the matchups.
I'm gonna go back to what we talked about when we started this conversation. The only hope I have is what they did coming out the bye last year.
Yes.
There's nothing that they've really done this season that gives me hope except one thing, brother. The Pittsburgh game.
Yes.
Like, I know you're a coach. DMV is a coach in here. I believe this is a coach saying, if I've seen you do it once, I know you can do it again.
Yeah.
Right. Mike, I've seen you go on the road and come out and use, at snap stuff, right? We got the exit motion with Brevin Span 4. We got orbit motion, and we ran 3 different versions of that play in that game. We ran it 4 or 5 times. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Spam it. Make them have to adjust to it, right? We got a screen of Hunter Lipke. You know what I'm saying? We're running more of that wide zone. We did run a couple wide zones in that game. He came out, he heard the noise. They pressed his ass at the press conference. He came out, and we were 10th that week in pre-snap shifts and at snap motion. 10th. It's the highest we've been in a long time, right? And I know, Foots, there's been conversations about it. We can get into it if you want, but that's what I'm looking for him to do coming out of this bye week against this Niners defense, is to ratchet up the creativity a little bit. Because if y'all want to have a little project tonight, or maybe not because you don't want your eyes to bleed, if you go back and watch how the Cowboys played the 49ers last year, it is the most basic, the most stagnant they probably were the entire season last year. For whatever reason, Foots, I don't know why they did that, going into that game on the road with that defense, but they did. How did they respond, Foots? First play off the bye week against the Rams at the crib, exit motion with I think it was Jake Ferguson. The first play, and for the rest of that game, you saw nothing but pre-snap stuff, at snap stuff, exit mode. He ratcheted it up. So really, that's my hope. And if they're watching the Niners defense this year, I don't know how you go into this game and you stay stagnant. That would be the worst idea you could ever do, because that is not a dumb defense over there. It might not be a dominant defense, But Fred Warner will read you like a book, and you will not be able to be consistent throughout the game and moving the rock and moving the chains. You just won't.
Whew. That's why we brought Sky on, y'all. CFT, what's going on, man? Shout out to everything you do.
Shout out to
shout
Rome.
out to your channel, man. Rome, you are an amazing person. We also are. Hey, listen, this is what I want to say too, right? And when we got more people in here, Sky. So me and Sky are gonna be kind of the. I'll say it, and I'll let Sky say his piece, y'all. Even in these tough times, one thing we got to do is have these conversations and not conversations where we tear each other down. Because just because a person has an opinion that they feel, hey, if you feel that way, cool. If you want to cite your sources and you feel that way, cool. I'm going to have mine. Sky's going to have his. Rome, Vach, Law. But we can still come together and be together because at the end of the day, football can turn around like this. You go out here, you win the San Fran game, anything can you feel a lot better about your season. Now, back to Sky and back to Sky's point and what he's talking about. I watched how Kansas City used Mecole Hardman. Mm-hmm. I watched how they tried to use Xavier Worthy. And what I'm saying is this: carbon copy that with Turpin. I'm motioning Turpin all over this offense this week because I want to see how this San Fran defense handles speed. I want to see, are they going to really run? Are they going to keep eyes on CD? Cool. You keep eyes on CD, throw it. Orbit, exit, return, push, all of these motions. Use the hell out of Turpin and see how they act, how they defend it, Sky. And I think that Mike has heard the noise, and Mike now is. It's almost like Mike is going into. If you guys have ever seen Goodfellas, it's like when they set up Tommy at the very end. He's going into the Mike. Don't get walked into don't get made, Mike, because it's getting. And I love Mike. Don't nobody defend Mike McCarthy more than Foot.
He's not lying, y'all.
No. Look at Sky's face.
Not lying.
I love me some Big Mike. Mike, don't you take yourself out to Santa Clara and run hits without no push or no. So
Foots, it'd be malpractice. I'll pull up. I dropped this film on Twitter, and we talked about it on my show a couple of days ago. But I'll pull this up here if you want. Let me see.
Yeah, pull it up for sure.
It'd be malpractice, brother. Because if you go watch specifically on third downs, this defense again, this is not the same defense.
No,
that it was before. But if you go watch on third downs, and just in general, using snap exit motion, it literally trips them up. They're a vision defense. We talk about this a lot, and I'll talk about it a little bit more tomorrow too. This is a vision defense. They still want to play a lot of zone. They'll man up on you single high from time to time, but you got to find ways to beat this zone. These guys are smart. They know where to be and how to be there. They've been playing this style of defense for years, right?
Shanahan literally brings in DCs to play this way.
To play his way, right?
Yep.
So you have to be able to attack it. And you talked about stretching the defense. They did not do that against them last year. A lot of slant flats and try to slant them to death and run comebacks, run down the field and turn around. You've got to push these guys. You see Tutu Atwell? Tutu Atwell is very similar to Turpin. Use Turpin, like you just said, as they would use Tutu Atwell with this motion, snap motion. It creates leverage, man. It creates free releases like this, and this is easy. It's an easy button. Yeah. It's a big play easy button, not a 5-yard easy button, a big play easy button. And it's not like you don't have evidence that you can't do it. You did it with Kavontae Turpin last year against them for the only big play of the season against the 49ers with a pre-snap, snap motion and allows a free release. Your fastest guy he's able to get on top of the corner and get an easy touchdown. If you don't believe me, go watch how the Seahawks how they use their offense on third downs and watch how the Vikings and the Rams did it. The Seahawks were awful against the 49ers on third down because they stayed stagnant. The Vikings and the Rams used a ton of motion on third down, and it almost worked every single damn time, but it depended on the pass rush, right? But you saw Sam Darnold, y'all. Sam Darnold. Eat them up with that. You saw Matt Stafford eat them up with that because not only it's not just about the motion, okay? It's about the concepts behind it as well. All right, so you got to attack these safeties. If you're just going to allow these safeties to just stay on the roof, Foots, and allow Fred Warner to just sit there and read you
Work the middle of
pre-snap.
the field and all that.
It's gonna be like pulling teeth to move down the field and try to score. So
Yeah.
you have to be creative against this. Even it's not even an elite defense anymore, but
No.
they are elite at turning the ball over, because if you are stagnant, well, you're likely going to run your routes into where these guys are at in their zone.
No, man, I completely agree. And even the Cardinals had some success doing some of the stuff that you're talking about. Cardinals were able to come back and win. I watched that game today, Sky. I just think that what you'll be able to do on defense versus San Fran, because I think that our defense will get stops. It does, like you said, remind me so much of the Pittsburgh game. However, I think that this game is definitely more on our offense. The 49ers not playing with anybody. I mean, Debo's
Debo,
not
we'll see.
playing.
We'll see.
We'll see if he plays after coming out off pneumonia. That's actually very scary because
With fluid in his lungs, I
yeah,
don't think
with
he should
fluid
be
in his
playing.
lungs. Yeah, what I was told, fluid in your lungs, his condition is gonna suck. It's very dangerous. But these guys are football players. They want to play. More power to them. Debo playing doesn't scare me. I've always said Ayuk, and this isn't really defensive talk, but Ayuk is the one because those big overs, big comeback, all those things that he does, and he's actually had kind of a down year. Even with Ayuk, their offense hasn't been the same. But talking about this defense, before I let you go, Sky, how are you? You kind of already answered these questions, and this is why I love these conversations. I was gonna say, how are you gonna attack them? But
there you go.
When it comes to this is my plan of attack, and then I'll let you get to yours, and then we'll hang up and we'll text about it during the game. I still need to manufacture ways for 88 to get the ball, right?
Every game.
That has to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it really is as simple as when they take 88 away, are they giving us a light box to run the ball? Do we have schemes to run the ball? And do we now believe in Tolbert enough, Sky, to be able to say and do what we did in Pittsburgh? That's going to be the question for me. And I think that if they can answer those questions, like 88 can't have a bad game or you're going to lose. You can't have the Detroit game. That you're going to lose. But I also feel like I feel like, what about just, you know what? Let's raise him and throw him 9. Let's get him going some type of way. But then, like we said, with this pre-snap motion and with Turpin, okay, does that leave Tolbert 1-on-1 for a deep post or whatever? That would be my plan of attack. And I know that sounds like a carbon copy because most teams are going to try to take away 88, but you can't let them, Mike. Like, what are we doing to get him the ball right now? And then what are we doing when they try to take away how we want to get 88 the ball? How do we adjust?
Yeah, you talked about Pittsburgh. The Pittsburgh, to me, wasn't even about 88. It was about the role players. It was about Turpin. It was about, I don't like to call Ferg a role player, but everybody outside of 88, Tolbert, right? Tolbert and Turpin made the big plays in that game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's because, you had all that attention on 88. The play to Tolbert happens because the safety on Lamb's side, and they saw this coming out of the huddle, was so occupied and had to be double teaming Lamb that Minka Fitzpatrick had to play the seam route to Ferguson or deal with the 9 route to Tolbert. You can't play 2 guys in one. Wide open Tolbert down the middle of the field or down the sideline, right? Come back later in that game. Kevontae Turpin gets a free release up the seam, hole shot because you're worried about 88 on the other side, and he drops it right there down the seam. So get these guys involved too. I get it. We definitely want to get Lamb going. No doubt about it. But you have to give these guys something else to think about. But it also means that they got to win too, right? I hate to give this guy credit, but Dan Orlovsky put the film to the test, right? Aikman said what he said, and people doubted it, and he put the film out and said, look how these guys are running routes, including you, 88. Turpin, like the details. I love Kurt Warner. He talks about details, man. He's made me a smarter film watcher. Details. They were not on in that game. They have not really been on all year, really, outside of that Pittsburgh game. When it comes to the details, and if they've got to be sharp, man. There can't be any lackadaisical anything in this. And that's the one thing I have issue with in how CD motions. Everything just seems to be just so cool and chill. Like,
motion, we're trying to get an advantage. Let's outflank the defense.
Yeah. You jogging and I mean, I told you don't want to watch this Niners from last year. I got done watching that about an hour ago. And there's time he's doing motion, he's jogging, and the ball snapped. And he's like, oh, and he's going like, mm-mm. I need everything to be 110% against this defense. But we haven't even talked about run game real quick, if you don't mind me.
Yeah, let's go.
I would like a little bit of it, Foots. I get it that we suck at it. I've been saying this for weeks. You know, we're a terrible run team. But if I could just have our run game have moments, I can live with that.
Yeah,
And the two teams that ran successfully on them from a down in, down out basis were the Vikings and the Cardinals. But it was two different ways. It was two different ways. Like Connor, the Cardinals ain't do nothing special. They did a couple, you know,
he was just dogging them.
Pulls. He was just dogging them, dog.
Yeah,
like he was getting yards he had no business getting. Right,
he does that. He'll have games like that where it's like he's punching people, literally.
Yeah. He's a dog, man. But the Vikings, though, you know, when I watched that game, I was
that's
like,
O'Connell, though, bro.
That's O'Connell. I know, but hey, man, I'm all about stealing. I'm all about stealing. I watched that game and I'm like, God, I mean, I thought Ben Johnson had, you know, I thought he had the deepest bag in the run game. Now O'Connell, he's not far behind. They ran.
O'Connell's such a good coach, bro. He's a good coach, bro.
Chandler tore him up. He had 10 carries in that game. I promise you, 10 carries, maybe 8 of those 10 carries were all different kind of runs. Different toss, zone, wide zone, inside zone, pulls, delay. 8 of those 10 runs were not the same. That's being creative in how you do it. And a lot of it, some of it was post or pre-snap motion, snap motion, getting the linebackers one way, Chandler pressing the hole, cutting back. Like they chewed them up. We don't do a lot of that. But again, I'm all about stealing foots. If you want this run game to have some moments, you have to give Fred Warner and DeAndre Campbell and Nick Bosa and Malik Collins and Leonard Floyd. Is Leonard Floyd? Leonard's
smaller DN. He can be had.
You got to get these dudes thinking a little bit. Yeah. You just do.
How much? I'll say this. Rome hit it, and Rome, you got it kind of late, I believe. But yeah, Rico gets the bulk of the load till he can't. Would love to see Dalvin at some point. I don't know what they're waiting on, and we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, Rico gets it till he can't. For me, I think me and Scott both agree there. We're not gonna belabor the Zeke point, but I agree with you, man. Like, still see what worked and take it. You know what I mean? Make it your own. And I agree with you, Scott. You do have to run the ball because, again, I'll say this. Asking Dak to go out there and throw the ball 35 times, he's at that point where he can do it, but that's a recipe for the disaster. You'll get the 3 picks. You'll get a red zone situation.
That's not sustainable, bro. Like, I mean, 30, 35 times about average for a passing team, but when it's all you do, like the game plan last week, I hate to go back.
No, it's fine. Take your time.
The coach came out and said, yo, where my button now? We f***ed up. He said he said we messed up. He said, man, maybe we shouldn't have tried to get into a sprint with a car that is faster than us, right?
That's a great.
That
was good.
No shit, coach. Like, come on now. You knew those dudes can do that. So you kind of had to slow the thing down a little bit, right? And coming off of a game where you saw how much balance mattered. Even if look, I don't expect us to get 4 or 5 yards of pop every time because we don't run like that. But what you needed to do was have a game plan that kind of could play off of each other. The run game could be married to the pass game married to the run game. Instead, they try to come out there and they do this sometimes, and it bugs me. They'll come out early in the game and it feels like they're already down 21-3.
Yeah, the way they're playing.
And it's like, what are we exactly? Like, what are we doing here, man? There's no rhyme or reason. So it's a lot to clean up, but at this point, Foots, you just gotta get in there and get this dub and get out of here and try to build some momentum.
Yeah, no, and to be honest with you, this is the game. You said this at the beginning. For everything we belabored and we've hit on some points, it really feels like this is the one you'll get in Santa Clara if you do what you're supposed to do because of the injuries. This is the league isn't fair, right?
Right.
We weren't healthy last week. Did the Lions care? They put up 40 on you. They put 40 on your head. They didn't care. You weren't healthy. They didn't care. Talk to me, Sky.
Let me just get a little messy, Foots. You don't mind. You go in here and you lose to the 49ers, depleted 49ers. and it looks similar to how you've been losing some of these games. Does your boy make it up out of Santa Clara? They tell him to keep his bags in California. And your boy, by the way, I'm talking about is Mike McCarthy.
I think if it looks bad and they're throwing to, because we got to also remember, Mike is still responsible for the defense. He's the head coach. So he needs to have, I mean, just because you're a head coach play caller, you need to have your eyes on Zimmer because, hey, Zim, you go out there and you lose to Ricky Pearsall, no Jawan Jennings, Ronnie Bell.
If Zim come out in that press conference and say, hey, man, I panicked when I saw Chris Conley catch a 60-yarder. I panicked. I was, hey, Foots, Mike and Mike can keep their bags in Santa Clara.
I'm
and the other Mike, too.
I'm going to say this.
All the Mikes.
If it gets out of control, the way that San Fran, because you got to understand, the Kansas City game wasn't close. The score looked close. And I know, and Kansas City wasn't playing good offense. Like, and I know how good
all
year they haven't, and I know how good that defense is. But San Francisco is a team that could be had. Thank you, Janie. Thank you, Sadiqa. Yes, thank you, Sheila. Thank you to all the women who talking offensive football with us, Sky.
I know. We
love it.
Since I got in this lane, man, it definitely heightened my senses in how many women actually be following a game like this. So shout out to y'all.
Really stay in there with us, man. Shout out to the women, man. W's up to the women, man.
Just as if not more loyal. So yeah.
Not only are they loyal, but they listen. They don't listen to respond. They listen to actually want to make sense of it all. And you know, Scott, if it gets ugly, I don't know. Just being honest with you,
I don't know how he makes it out. I don't know. You know what? Coach. I mean, act like a coach. Jerry did say he regretted firing Wade, so maybe he won't.
I'll tell you this: if they lose a close game, he's safe. If it gets ugly,
that's how I felt. I felt like if they lose a close game, I'm not even thinking about it. If they get whooped again, I don't know how you don't have the conversation.
But Sky, if you win, I don't care how you do it.
Yeah, I don't care.
If you win, the season feels different because for a few reasons. We know we play Philly well. We've owned Washington, and they're reeling with their quarterback. And, man, you have talked about we like Jaden Daniels. I want to get this on record. But we've also said you take away one of his superpowers, which is running the ball, and he's 195 pounds, and now it's about to get colder, and you got to play against – and Mike will be back, and you playing against – it could be goofy. If you win, you feel better. You say, you know what?
100%, man.
If you go out there and win on Sunday night, you feel like, you know what? You do not feel like the season is over if you win.
Crazy how the win-loss column for this game could mean significantly. Now, some people it does not matter, especially because you're dealing with a depleted, roster on the other side. Which I
don't care. I don't care. I'm not gonna apologize for a win. I promise you.
But if you win this game, your thought process is okay, man. We'll get Micah back. We'll get Bland back. We'll get these guys get healthy. Definitely, if your offense clicks. But if you lose, offense looks the same. You guys didn't play. It's going to be like, well, yeah, they might come back, but we're not playing. Defense still looks terrible. It could definitely go opposite ends of the spectrum. I don't think there's going to be a middle ground here.
And I'm gonna say this, man, for the hell that we've given Mike and Dak and everybody and how they feel, I do believe that the Cowboys will look better this week. I do believe that we'll see some different things. It's going to be on execution. I think that they'll move the ball 20-20, but like you said, that vision defense. I want Mike's. Hey. I want to see them in that red zone, Scott.
We ain't bring that up right there. That's the one. Both sides of the ball are struggling down there.
If we look better in the red area, Sky, I'll be back on board.
I'm gonna say something that you probably ain't gonna like. This one. You know where you missing Kellen Moore at? Red zone.
Yeah, the creativity.
He was way better than Mike McCarthy.
I think he was more creative. Mike's not creative.
Oh, he was more creative for sure. He wasn't consistent and didn't have a clue what the hell was going on in regards to game management. But he was 100% more creative. But the red zone, bro, you ain't had to worry about it. When you got down there, you was scoring. Yeah. Mike, it's like we can't run the ball down there. They don't want to run the ball down there, so it's drop back, no motion, and run the same 3 plays. It's the same 3 plays, bro.
You got to stop that corner from the number 2 receiver.
Got to stop it, bro.
So yeah, that I love you, Mike, but Mike, I know the corner's coming, bro. I'd rather him just throw fade, bro. Just throw the fade ball, bro.
He'll do the little stick, right? He'll have the little out route with the number one, as
Yeah,
if the corner don't know. eh, I can play two dudes now. I can play
yeah,
two dudes.
it's
So,
trucking.
and then if I'm Dak, I'm getting rid of that. Hey, nah. Hey, what?
Oh my
Coach, no,
goodness.
we're not running this.
Yeah,
But
nah.
he's such a
I,
company. Yeah. Anyway.
hey, bro, I feel good. I listening to the players' interviews today. They felt loose. Dak felt his energy just felt really good, man. I'll say this: if the red area looks clean, like if you go out on your opening drive, Sky, you just move the ball. I think everybody's breathing like, okay, we're okay. We're still a
Got to
good
punch
team.
it in. Got to
We
punch
got to
it in.
score.
I've seen you guys move it between the 20s. If we go, man, this is a lot. We haven't scored 3 touchdowns in the game yet for it's on offense. But if we go 3 for 4 in the red area, that will give me more confidence than anything
Mm-hmm.
coming out this game.
Mm-hmm.
Because you need your offense to turn it on. Once again, your offense is going to be reason for any success if you have any, later on in the year. You want your defense to turn up, but I don't have that confidence just quite yet. But you need your offense to figure this out if you want to be competitive for one of those 7 spots for the tournament.
Ladies and gentlemen, Skywalker Still, man, he has a dynamic morning show. He'll be on tomorrow. Just the fact that he spent his time with me, man, he didn't have to do this. Anytime I
Come on, man. You
called,
know I got
it's
you. As
starting to
long as
become a
I ain't got
thing,
the
man.
baby boy, I got you.
Sky, man, these football talks are needed. I feel like us being in the community as heavy as we are, y'all, let's just get back to ball, man. Like, you have a choice, just so we're clear. I don't want to hear y'all talk about, oh, I'm so tired and it's so crazy. And no, you have a choice in who you listen to, who you give your time to. Sky's not going to spend 30 minutes on Jerry Jones. We know how crazy he is. He's senile. We know what's going on. He'll talk about it, but then he's getting to the facts. I've always been a person that I want more information. I want
Jack with you today.
I have fun with it, but bro. I'm not. This Jerry thing is just
I want
tours. Come on, man. Nah, I'm good.
Hey, but you know what? Since we here, I'm gonna say this, and I love what Micah said. If you can't handle that, that's on you as a player, dog. Like, I get the ESPN article, but like that's gaslighting, that's clickbaiting at the highest of heights. I get it. Yeah, the culture, we need to be out of the way. I understand it, but like, you know what you're signing up for when you play for Dallas, man. You need to know.
So a grain of sand on a beach, right, is so tiny. Tours at the Star is a grain of sand when it comes to the issues for the Dallas Cowboys. Okay, is it an issue potentially? Okay, but it's tiny. Yeah. It's tiny. The culture thing is so much bigger and deeper and problematic than that. So that's why I just refuse to get my emotions all bent out of shape over that. I just refuse, man. That's not why you're out here losing. It's if you say, well, it's part of culture, Scott, you're right, it is. But the issues that compound for culture for the Cowboys are bigger than tours. Way bigger.
Yeah. If you want to, I'm not mad if you want to say the culture's messed up because Jerry is going to override his coach every week. Fine.
Again, one of many.
One of many
that are issues with the culture.
If you want to say that Steven doesn't know what he's doing football wise, fine. One of many. You can't find. But if we're talking about tours, I love what Micah said. Just stop. That ain't an issue. Like,
I saw what Dak said. That was interesting. He was like, bro, if that's the case, then tell fans not to come to games, bro. Like, because the fans at games are literally a distraction, right? That's what they're there for. But anyway, man, I refuse.
You know what? I'm gonna say this though. One thing, I give Dak a hard time. People know that dude is Teflon mentally, and I respect that, bro, because you have to be. Like, if you letting and I wasn't trying to get. I kind of trolled Ben DiNucci on Twitter a little bit, but it's like, but I was like, but even in that though, I'm like, but then Ben came back and was like, oh, I just want to make sure that I cleared it up that I love playing for the Cowboys. I know you did, because guess what, Ben? Nobody would know who the F you are. Excuse my language. Who would know who Ben? Really and truthfully, who would know who Ben DiNucci is?
My guy,
I'm laid back first, man.
He got Dallas brand.
Oh,
for
they love
being
him.
in
I already
Dallas,
know.
man.
They love him, bro.
I just thought it was hilarious.
Who would know? Who
'cause
would know who Ben DiNucci? What Sky? Come on, bro. Come
I
on.
know what you was trying to say. Well, oh, they was on your ass in the comments. No fuss. I'm like, dog.
You know how they do, Sky. Oh
I
my
know.
God.
I
That
trust me.
doesn't
I know.
mean
That's
he's
why I'll be
lying.
chilling. I'll be chilling. Man. Whatever I got to say, 8:30 in the morning, sometimes 8:45. Y'all can come see it here. Come see it on my show. I ain't doing all this on
Ben
Twitter for y'all. Y'all
DiNucci
crazy
could
on this.
not throw a 5 and out against Philly, bro. We not doing this. I'm not doing this with y'all.
Nooch came out and said, "Hey man, I was so distracted.
I'm not
with it."
doing this.
Nooch, come on, Nooch. But you
I'm
right.
not doing this with Kelvin Joseph, and I guess they said he was lying, but I'm not doing. Kelvin, you was a rapper. Stop it. Just stop. You got double moved out the league versus Jackson. You know what? You know what?
He said, so boss man wasn't distracted from tapping on the glasses. He was distracted because he was in the stew. He was in the studio.
He was in the stew. He missed meetings because what?
He had meetings with the the DD that was a Dallas, the DPD.
Ben DiNucci couldn't throw a 5 and out. Sky versus Philly. I remember there was the hardest football game to watch. Do not play with me.
You know
Ben.
what, bro? Honestly, you know what? We in overtime. Ben DiNucci basically. Let me tell you why. I'm gonna tell you a story. Hey, Voch, if you listening, you know this story, dog. We was at the Mavericks game, Western Conference Finals, a couple years ago, right? We go get some pizza. We waiting in line, and I'm like,
somebody tag Voch on Twitter. Tell him come in here, man.
I said, I think that's Ben. You know what I mean? He's like literally 2 feet in front. I was like, hey, what's good, Ben DiNucci? I mean, or Ben, I might say something like that. And he kind of looked back and said, I'm like, Nucci, right? I don't want him causing no storm. And he like, yeah. And just kept him. I'm like, oh, timeout, man. I almost says,
no, you
timeout, bro, timeout. I know the 5th string quarterback not out here acting like he Dak Prescott. I mean, I could have got it. Oh, yeah, man. What's up? But you hyped that somebody recognized your funky ass. But no, Ben DiNucci hit me with a, yeah. I'm not fanboying or nothing, dog. I'm just saying, what's up, bro? Keep me on.
Can I do you one better since we in overtime?
So basically, yeah.
Hold on, wait, whoa, time out. And I promise you, if I'm lying, I'm dying. More people know who Skywalker Steele is.
Come on, man.
No, I'm gonna say it because I get people come up to me in DC. So I know if I was in Dallas, more people in Dallas know who Skywalker Steele is. I guarantee it.
Facts, Night Ranger.
Then they know who Ben DiNucci is. And that was my point. And I wasn't even trying to carry it like that. But I was like on Twitter, like, bro, Ben, nobody else. The only reason you're known is because you play with Dallas. Stop it. Don't do that, Ben. If we talking about Dak Prescott and he came out and said it, okay, cool. Who, by the way, if Dak seen you, Sky, he probably would have been more humble. He probably would have been showing love.
I've met Dak multiple times, and we've chatted about his business ventures and being his brother. Cool, like he would never. In fact, I remember at camp one time when I had to pass or whatever. I said, "Hey, yo, Dak," and he didn't hear me. He kept walking, so I just kept moving around. I'm about to bug these dudes. He turned around and said, "Yo, come here, come back." He told me to come back. And had conversation. He even took a picture and everything. So yeah, Dak wouldn't do no mess like that. And the messed up part about it with Ben thing was I actually had him on my show. I interviewed him like 4 years ago when he was drafted as a rookie. And I was gonna bring that up, but he wanted to act like my man said here, bench players acting like they starters, right? Like, nah, man.
And we're not doing that because at the end of the day, like that's my point of like for anybody who has something to say about the Cowboys, right? And we do this our job. I love how critical Sky is because and John and these guys because it makes me think this platform I wouldn't trade for the world because I still think we got the smartest fans. We got some crazy ones, but we got some smart ones as well. And y'all keep me on my ish. It's the same vibe with the players. Nobody would know who Kelvin Joseph was if you wasn't. If you play for the Cowboys, you pretty much set for life if you flip it right. Now, if you don't, that's on you.
Man, I say this to my channel all the time. I say, look, there's a lot of creators and fans that are a lot more passionate about that specific conversation. I will tell you guys, go follow their stuff, go watch, go listen to them because you're not gonna get it out of me. I don't care. I truly don't. I don't have any emotions to that specific thing. Now, you want to talk about team building? You want to talk about, was the real issues behind the scenes that are affecting this team that trickles down the field? I'm more emotional about that because I feel like if those things were to change, maybe you would have had more type of success. But that, and look, man, if the players are bothered by it, cool. Then let them be bothered by it. But I'm not about to sit here and spend an hour going off on it. I don't care.
We don't care. Man.
I'm sorry. Hey, Stephen A., tell him, brother.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care. Let me tell you, we don't care.
Man, Skywalker Steele, thank you so much for joining, bro. I will be on tapped in with you in the morning. I try to catch as much as I can. Like I said, man, completely grateful. I'm always gonna give you flowers. Always gonna give everybody in the space their flowers, man. And listen, you guys watch. You guys can even watch listening to this. I know I've done that, listening to shows and what I want to, even pregame, what I want to remember to watch for. We covered a lot of bases tonight, Scott. This ended up being a dynamic show.
We said we were just going to go, and we did, man. We got film up and everything. It was fire.
Yeah, it was fire, man. So, hey, listen, fire emojis in the chat for Skywalker Steele. I don't got all the bells and whistles. I don't got no outro music. Can I just get fires in the chat for Skywalker Steele, y'all? Please, I'm not going anywhere. Yeah, give us something, Sky, because I really, man, this dude, man, do-rag Sky a little different.
It ain't no thing to do my thing.
Y'all know what that is. Hey, they've been asking for it, bro. We gotta get the squad back together. They've been asking for it.
You see the fire emojis if y'all want the round table.
We gotta give it to him. It'll be heated too, because Okoye had to cuss these muckers out too. So yeah.
Mixtape Sky different. Hey, look at the fire emojis, Sky.
Let's go, baby.
DMV, we
Shouts
love you, Sheila, Night Ranger, Jeremy. Everybody, if I didn't get to you, man, I love y'all so much. Thank you. I'm gonna let Sky go. Keep the fire emojis going. We gone. Peace, y'all.